One of the most influential labor leaders of the 1930s was John L. Lewis. Who was John L. Lewis? How did he become so influential? John L. Lewis was born in Iowa in 1880. His father was a coal miner, and Lewis himself went to work in the coal mines when he was only 16. He became active in the Coal Miners Union and eventually worked closely with Samuel Gompers, the founder of the American Federation of Labor. In the 1930s, there were few industries as important as the coal industry. However, coal miners were not allowed to join the AFL because it was created for skilled laborers, and coal miners were unskilled laborers. As a result, Lewis formed the Congress of Industrial Organizations, or the CIO. This was a conglomerate labor union made up of other labor unions which all represented unskilled workers. This included not only coal miners, but rubber workers who made tires, steel workers, auto workers, and many others. The CIO supported many groups of striking workers in the late 1930s. One of the biggest strikes of the decade was a strike by the United Auto Workers. The General Motors factories in Flint, Michigan and Cleveland, Ohio were virtually shut down by the striking workers. Before the strike, the GM factories had been producing 15,000 cars a week. During the strike, this number dropped to just over 150. GM was eventually forced to negotiate with its striking workers for better wages and safer working conditions. This was just one of many strikes which occurred in the latter half of the 1930s, all of which were backed by John L. Lewis and the CIO. Other strikes took place in steel mills, tire factories, aircraft factories, and even bakeries. Many of these strikes were not traditional strikes in which workers walked out or protested on picket lines. Instead, they used a method of striking known as the sit-in or sit-down strike. The workers would occupy their usual workspace but simply refuse to work. This had the advantage of making it difficult for police or the National Guard to remove them, and it made it virtually impossible for the workers to be replaced. It also increased the camaraderie between the workers as they were living together inside the factory for days or even weeks. For example, the GM factory strike lasted 44 days. In an effort to pass the time during the sit-in, workers would play cards or listen to the radio. One strike even featured a band which performed for striking workers. The band itself was made up of workers. Meals would be brought in by wives or friends who were supporting their cause. Through these efforts, the workers experienced a new sense of power. They were able to effect change in their condition and provide a better working environment and higher wages for their fellow workers. Many of these strikes were made possible or heavily supported by the efforts of John L. Lewis and the Congress of Industrial Organizations. Lewis would continue to be a major figure in American labor for the next 2 decades. He is remembered today as one of the most important figures of the 20th century labor movement.